This is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and this is episode 67 of the Sophie Art podcast, which is a little podcast that I do about the art and things, but this one's going to be more about the things and art. It's something I'm trying to work on. I'm currently thinking and what I think I might do, because I want this podcast to be art and things, not things and art. So what I'm thinking about doing now is putting only art topics into little Dennis's bag, so he can only pull out art topics, and 3 times each month the podcast will be focused on art, and then at the end of the month there'll be like a week of anything goes where I can talk about anything, because I do want to sort of structure it more with art focused, but I've got lots of little topics I want to talk about over the coming weeks, and like I want to talk about death, but that's actually related to art. It's like, how can thinking about death make you a better artist? I'm actually quite excited to do that one. I want to talk about distractions as well, which is quite weird because I feel like sometimes I'm getting distracted by things which I think is to do with my art, but it's probably not. So it's quite hard. It's quite easy to get distracted, I think. So that'll be another fun one, I think. But this one's going to be about lucid dreaming. And what I'm going to do is, I've got 5 little lucid dreams written down here from the past month or so. And I'm just going to quickly go through them and talk about them, because I love talking about lucid dreams. And I think you can learn stuff from like listening to people talk about their dreams and stuff. So that's basically what this podcast is going to be all about. I've got the book here, Robert Waggoner's Lucid Dreaming book, Gateway to the Inner Self. This week's inspirational quote is going to come from that. But that's basically it. I've got my dream diary here as well. Little Dennis is here as well. But my dream diary is currently on day 587. And the dreams here, I've got the first dream I'm going to talk about. Actually, the first dream I'm going to talk about is just a regular dream, but it's something that was really quite funny. So that one's going to be about a purring cat. Then I've got 4 little lucid dreams. The first one is from the 21st of June, and it's about a little trip into space where I turned into a ghost. That was a mental one. The next one is going to be about moving blocks. The first one was on the 6th of June. The second one is the 21st of June. This is about moving blocks, where I actually went into a previous dream and I became aware that I was walking around a previous dream. It's another crazy one. The next one was day 581. This is where a taxi driver showed up and started driving me to a place where I wanted to go. That was quite funny because he seemed to be self-aware. And then the final one is going to be about one that happened 2 days ago, where I was stuck in a house full of lucid dreamers. But I was proper stuck in there, and it turned into false awakenings, a string of false awakenings. It was crazy. But what it is, I'm going to start at the first one. Now this first one is one of those, every now and again you'll have a lucid dream. So a lucid dream is where you become aware that you're dreaming, and then you can start manipulating the dream. So if you go into the dream with like a little goal, like you might want to say meet somebody who's died or something. If you go into it with that, when you become lucid, you can then sort of say, I want to meet this person, and see what happens. So that's what lucid dreams are. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, because this podcast is on YouTube as well, at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson. But this first one just seemed to last forever. It's because every now and again you'll have a lucid dream that just seems to last for a long time. Some of them are really quick, but this one, it went on for quite a long time. So I've got a little goal at the moment, which the dream, like 6 months ago or something, it told me to seek out Sula, somebody called Sula. So what I've started doing is going into my dreams. I talked about it on a previous podcast where I go into a dream, I recite a little poem that I've learnt, which is, "In the water so blue, I will heal my wounds. My promise to you is I will heal you too." I say that, which has this effect of sort of stabilising me in the dream, really. And then I'll say to the dream, "Take me to Sula," and then just see what happens. I think I might change that a little bit to say, I'm going to try and start saying, "Manifest Sula" in front of me. Because if I'm saying, "Take me to Sula," I'm going to then have to go through the dream to get to Sula. Whereas really, I want to go face to face with Sula to find out what Sula is. I've got a strange feeling that it might be something nefarious. I like that word, nefarious. But we're going to have to wait and see. Because ever since I've started to try to find Sula, I have had such crazy dreams, and some of them have been a bit scary. But I think that's part of dreaming. That goes into the quote actually from Waggoner. But this one, so I've got 15 little things. I'm just going to read them and then I'll talk about the dream. So I said, "There was no sound till I got closer to the star." The blue, actually it won't make sense if I read it like that. So what happened was, I was in a dream. I became aware that I was lucid, and I said, "Take me to Sula." At which point I found myself in space, and there was no sound. I said, "Take me to Sula." I kept saying, "Take me to Sula," and I was really determined. This little ring of yellow light, but it looked like a ring of fire, but it didn't look like fire. But it's weird. So I focused on that, and I thought, I've got to get there. I wasn't really moving, so I started trying to swim through the air, and it was going to take forever because it was getting close very, very slowly. It would have taken ages. So what I did was, I focused on the space between me and the yellow ring, and I sort of teleported into the space. So then I focused on the space between me and the thing again, and teleported again. So I kept teleporting half the distance until suddenly it was right in front of me, at which point you could hear it sort of going, and the closer you got into this ring, it was going, and it was building up as well. The way I would describe it is it's as if somebody had like a bungee rope on me, and as I was getting into the ring of fire, they were pulling it, so it was like resistance. Suddenly, as I'm in the middle of this ring of fire, and I'm constantly saying, "Take me to Sula, take me to Sula." Suddenly, this little blue light floats across the screen in front of me, and I focus on that. I'm still going through this yellow ring, focus on that little blue thing. Suddenly, I've popped into this blue thing, and it's gone. All that resistance has disappeared, as if somebody cut like the rope or something. So it's as if I'm floating. And the next minute, I'm standing in front of a massive table. This bloke, it's weird because I had my dream diary inside of this dream with me. This dream, I am convinced, is maybe an out of body. It's either an out of body experience, or I definitely feel like I went to another place with this one. Because I was in front of this table, massive table. There was somebody to my left. And what he did was he said, it's as if the minute I popped into existence in that place, I felt like he had brought me there. And the minute I popped in, it was as if he sprung into action. He said, "Right." He picked up my dream diary, took it off me and said, "What day are you on?" And he went to day 800, which I'm not on yet. He went to day 800 and it was a blank page. So he gave my dream diary back and he just started throwing all this information at me, which it kind of doesn't make sense, but I try to remember as much as I can. And what he did was he drew like a cross on a piece of paper, and he put, I think it was -1 for y in that corner, then it was 1 for y, -1 -1 for y, very weird. And then he said, in that corner he put David, in the other corner he put Josepha, which I later found out they're both names in the Bible. And I also asked what his name was later in the dream, and he said he was called Noel. Noel, which is also linked to the Bible. Very weird. But he was giving me all this information, and I'm in the dream, and I know I'm trying to remember it all because I want to bring it back with me. So I'm trying to sort of memorise what he's telling me so I can bring it back and write it when I wake up. But I'm also trying to make sense of what's going on. And it was like overload, and I kept saying to him, slow down, I'm not going to be able to take all this in. And he kept repeating it, and we both had a pen, and I started trying to write it down, but my pen wasn't working. And I just said to him, I'm not going to be able to remember all of this when I wake up. So he stopped telling me stuff, but he still had this little graph there, so I was trying to memorise this graph, and then he started saying stuff like, because we were talking telepathically, and he started saying, when you go back to your talking world, because like when I woke up I thought, wow, that's what made me think I was in a different sort of reality or something. But basically we talked for, well, it seemed like ages, and then I think what happened was he realised that I wasn't going to be able to, it felt a little bit like he thought, you're not ready yet for what I'm telling you. But then I'm thinking, because it's day 800 in the diary, I'm wondering whether next year, when my diary gets to day 800, maybe somehow this is all going to make sense. But what happened was, he started to take me away as if he was going to take me out of the dream, because he was saying, when you go back to your talking world, and he started taking me off, literally saying you've got to go back now. And I said, I don't want to go back yet. He said, you've got to go back. I said, I don't want to go back. And then I noticed that the door was opening, because he had like a door over there. This room was all glass windows. It was as if we were in a massive building with all glass windows. It was very futuristic. It looked really nice though. This door started opening, and I got this sense that the reason he was trying to get me out of the dream was because whoever was coming in, he didn't want them to see me. And I said to him, it's all right, you can trust me, I'm not going to do anything. So he let me stay. The door opens up, and like, I was half thinking, is a monster going to come in or something? But this lady come in with two children, and I worked out that it was his wife and kids. But she come in, and I'm standing in front of her, and I started waving at her. She couldn't see me, and I realised then that I basically like turned into some sort of ghost thing. I think the bloke could see me, but they couldn't. So what I did was, I didn't want to, because I was even convinced inside of this dream that I was inside of a reality that I could potentially change. So I didn't want her to walk through me in case somehow it like did something to her. So as she was walking around, and the two kids were walking around, I was moving in between the space between them. I was desperately trying to make it so that I wouldn't like touch anything. So they walked over to the window, and it was a clear sky outside. It was like looking over like a futuristic city, but you could see the stars in the sky even though it was daylight. And her and the kids and the bloke, they went over to this window and they were looking up, and she was pointing at one of these stars, which I'm convinced was the star that I had come from. And she's pointing, that one's bright today, she said. And all the kids were looking, and I thought, I want to look at this. So I walked over to the window, and I was looking out the window at this star, and I breathed on the glass, and I left like a thingy, like a, what do you call it, a breath mark on the, and I stepped back and thought, oh no. She looked around, and she saw it, and then she started looking around as if, who's here? I got a feeling as if I've been there before, and she knows that. I got a feeling like she. I know it sounds a bit mental, but it felt to me like she had said to him, "Don't bring Sophie back here again," and that's why he was saying, That's why he wanted me to go before she come in. It's weird. It's just like a feeling I got. So I thought, oh no, I'm gonna get him in trouble. At that point, the dream starts to fade, which I'm convinced was him, like knocking me out of the dream. And as I'm leaving, I'm getting this sense that he's now going to get in trouble. But I also feel like I reckon I can go back there So, like, once I've sorted out this thing with Sula, I'm going to ask to go back to see Noel, because I've got so many questions for him. There's so much stuff he said in this dream. It was a crazy one. It was a crazy one, but I woke up from that convinced. When I woke up, I actually tried to go back to sleep to get back in there, because I had questions for him, but I couldn't. I was so hyped up with that one, I couldn't get back to sleep. So the main thing with that one was the feeling of going through that ring was like really intense. It was beautiful, but then like the lights going across. Again, this is because I'm not sure if Sula is good or not, because I'm getting lots of signs that Sula might be not necessarily something I should be going after. He even said, well, I got the feeling, when that light came across, I got the feeling he was pulling me away from going down to see Sula. And that's it, going down. And we class going down with not good things. Because this ring, as I started going into the ring, it was going down like that. I feel like it was some sort of wormhole thing. It was really weird. But that's basically the first lucid dream. That one I'm convinced it was another place. And I've just started wondering so many things. Like, I'm wondering, does he and his family exist out there? And like, are they out there now? Are they out there now? Like, what are they doing and stuff? Yeah, I love that one. The second one is amazing. So the second one, again, I'd done my little poem and I said, take me to Sula. At which point I think it started with a false awakening, turning the light on. I was in this room and I started to say my poem, walking down the stairs. Normally, when I pop into a false awakening, it's normally, I think, what they call the void, which is like darkness. But it's weird because it's the void, so it's darkness. You can't see nothing, but you can feel everything. So you can feel all your furniture. You can sense where everything is, even though you can't see nothing. It's really weird. So then I'm walking down the stairs and I'm saying, take me to Sula, take me to Sula. Opened the front door and I walked out into what I thought was my street. It looked like my street at first. And I kept saying, take me to Sula, take me to Sula. And I thought, why am I in my street? I kept walking and I thought, this isn't my street. I looked around and I looked at the roofs and they had this weird, like, sloping shape. And I suddenly realised, I thought, I've been here before. And I realised that I'd been there in a previous dream. So I'd popped into a previous dream. But in this previous dream, I'd been running around the rooftops and I now found myself on the floor. And it was weird. It's as if you've ever watched a programme on TV and then gone to the actual studio where they film it, it's that strange feeling where it looks familiar, because on the TV everything looks bigger. So you're in the studio and it looks really small. It's a strange feeling. It was kind of like that, where I was in this dream thinking, this feels so much weirder on the ground. But when I'd been running around the rooftops, I'd seen like a temple on the floor, but I'd either been chasing somebody or somebody had been chasing me. So I never got down to this temple. So I thought to myself, well, I'm in this dream now, I'm going to go to the temple. I was like drawn to this temple. So I walked through this little city, which I knew the paths because I'd seen it from above. I found this little temple, which was right in the middle. I walk around. There's no people in this map either. It's like a deserted city. I walk up to the front of this temple, and I keep saying, take me to Sula, take me to Sula. There's this stone, the front of the temple is all stone blocks. I put my hand on one of these stone blocks, and the stone block starts moving, so I can walk the stone block. So I'm walking through like a little corridor. I get to the end of the corridor, the stone stops. I take my hand off, walk to the left, to the right. The stone block starts moving back. So I'm now inside the temple, and I can't get out really. It's like blocked me in. Walk round the corner, there's another stone block. I touch this one, it zooms forward right to the end. So I start walking up the corridor and it starts, when the block reached the end, it started zooming straight back towards me. So I had to jump over that one. And then I moved I jumped over that one. I moved around to the left. There's this little bowl, just like this. Bing! Just like that, there's a little bowl. And I pulled this, what do you call it? Like a string thing. This little ball fell out of the sky, and like bing, it like did that. It made the bowl go, and then a little bag of rice popped out the wall. Very random. But this little man, little Oriental Chinese man, little sort of monkey bloke, monk, like a monk. He starts walking around the left, comes down the stairs, and he goes, he was like that. He had his hands together like this, as if like very wise. And he goes, we don't get many visitors here. They don't know how to get past the password. And I started laughing, saying I'm not surprised, because that little series of blocks and stuff, it seemed like some sort of security test thing. So he starts leading me up the stairs, and I'm saying, where am I? Like, where is this? He didn't say nothing. He never spoke again after that. He led me up the stairs. I come into this room. It looks like I'm in like an old Chinese restaurant. But there's only one chair, like a throne. So he leads me to this throne. I sit down in this little chair. There's loads of girls, about 5 girls in this like kitchen, and they're all working, and I can tell they're making me something. So this bloke, he goes off to the left and seems to disappear. I'd never see him again. And I started saying, I kept saying, where am I? Where am I? Everyone just seemed to be smiling as if they knew something. And I said, is anybody here called Sula? Everybody turned and looked to this black girl in the corner, and she sort of put her hand up and said, it's not actually Sula, it's Juicen, it's S, well, the way she described it, because again, I tried to remember it, it's Juicen, but with an S, so Susan. But then I've later thought about it, and it sounds a bit like seduce, which that's seduce. It sounds just like that, as if. And when you see what they were doing, and then when I think about what keeps happening with this Sula character, seduce. I'm not sure if seduce is a good word, but yeah. So I had a pen. I was trying to write this name down because it was a hard name, and I knew I wouldn't remember it, but the pen wasn't working. And then I said, it sounds like Juicen, Susan. So in this dream, I started like dancing as if I knew her name. I started walking off, and she goes, I could hear her in the background saying, well, that's a good start. You can feel the tension. There's something going on here. There's something going on. It felt like they'd been waiting for me to arrive. So I sat back in my chair. When I'd originally walked over to Sula, I'm still calling her Sula. But when I'd walked over to her, all these girls, they had these little revealing tops, and you could see their breasts. But I just ignored it. This dream is really a massive lesson. I've learnt such a good lesson from this dream. I just ignored it because I was focused on Sula. Sat back on my chair. Whatever they were doing, they had these little bowls, just like a singing bowl. And they had like a little thing, and they were mixing something in this bowl, like a potion. That's what it looked like. It looked like a little potion. And I could tell that she was just about to give it to me, because one of these girls was kneeling in front of me, mixing this bowl as if just about to give it to me. And then I said to her, because I started thinking, why is everybody here wearing these little revealing tops? And I said to her, why? Because she was bending down, mixing. I could see down her top, at her breasts. So I said, why have you got your breasts out like that? And I said, why is everybody here showing their breasts? And I said, I know what you're doing. You're trying to distract me with these breasts. At which point, the dream started to fade away. And I don't know if you've ever seen that thing where Darth Vader goes, like, no! As this dream started fading, I was like, no! I was trying to grasp back onto it. I was trying to get back in. But I woke up, I was so upset that because what had happened was, this is what I've worked out, even though I didn't focus on the breasts, I stayed focused on Sula. I started trying to analyse inside of the dream these breasts. Like I started trying to analyse what they meant, which meant I actually put my focus on them. So the very thing that I think they were trying to do, which was distract me with the breasts, I ended up doing by trying to be, I guess, clever and analyse the situation. I ended up doing the thing that they were trying to do. And so even though the dream faded and I'm maybe never going to find out what they were about to do, I love that because I learnt a lesson, and it's what I've learnt is don't analyse things inside the dream. Analyse when you get out. So that dream was probably, that's the main lesson I learnt, and I almost wonder whether that was the point of that dream, and that's why the dream faded, because I didn't do anything to like stop it. I was focused as best I could, and it faded, and I couldn't get back in there. And again, when I finished writing about it, I tried to go back to sleep to get back in there, but I was just, again, whenever I come out of lucid dreams, I seem to be quite pumped up, like lots of energy, so it's always quite hard to get back into them. But that was a fascinating one. The next one, which was on the 5th of July, again, I woke up in false awakening on my bed. Now this one's a bit different. I said my poem. I was going downstairs saying, take me to Sula, take me to Sula, and I could feel somebody behind me, or I could feel something behind me, like, I'm going to say shadowing me, so I feel like it was my shadow. So I think Sula has got something to do with my shadow self, and actually I've changed it now so that when I say take me to Sula, I'm actually saying take us to Sula, because I've talked about before, some of my lucid dreams, at the very start, I used to see this massive dragon, which, like, it was very scary, massive dragon. And there was one dream where I was face to face with this dragon. I was in like a little tower, and there was a little window, and I kept walking past this window. The dragon was shadowing me, and I was convinced that the dragon was actually me, like my shadow self or something. But I couldn't handle it, and one of the dream characters gave me this little balloon, like a little balloon. It said, take this balloon, let it take you wherever it wants to, but come back when you're ready. And I've not really seen the dragon since then, but I feel like, because I'm convinced all these dreams are telling a story. I think they're like little blocks of a big story, and like, well, what I think is, and this is a bit weird, I think sometimes you get a piece of the story before another piece, so it doesn't make sense until later on. A bit like that first dream where he's telling me stuff for day 800 in the diary. I feel like our dreams are maybe out of sync, because time is different in dreams. I think you can end up getting like bits in the future before the bits in the past. It was very weird, but so I'm walking down the stairs with this shadow thing behind me, but I was just focused on getting to Sula. So I opened the front door, take me to Sula, take me to Sula. There's this black taxi waiting outside. However, it looks a bit like a hearse. Again, this is why there's so many little signs that Sula is linked to something potentially not good. And I've been having dreams where, like the other day I had a dream. As I'm waking up, it said, it was whispering it whispered, stay away. Imagine that. Like you're waking up and you've got this voice whispering, stay away. A little bit creepy. And little things like that keep happening. And yeah, stuff like that. So, but I don't care whether it's a scary thing or not. I'm determined to see it, like whatever it is. And I've started thinking maybe Sula is actually nothing. Maybe Sula is just like a manifestation of a fear, which is I'm going after some sort of fear, and really Sula doesn't actually exist. It's just the dream's way of making me focus. It's weird, but in this one, I got into this taxi. This is funny. I got into the taxi, which looked like a hearse. I sit down. The shadow thing is sitting on the back seat. I can feel it. I look around, but I can't see it. but I can feel it behind me. And then I looked at the taxi driver, and I didn't. I did. I looked at the taxi driver and said, "Take us to Sula." No, I wasn't looking at him, and this is funny. I said, "Take us to Sula." I then looked at him, and I clicked my fingers like on the videos, and I went, "As fast as you can." I just thought that was quite funny. He started laughing, and then he starts driving his little taxi. He's driving through the streets outside, and I just said, "Who is Sula?" He wasn't saying anything. This lady then come on the little walkie-talkie, and she started saying something about Sula linked to a prison. And I kept saying, "Who is Sula? Who is Sula?" And then I said to the taxi driver, "Look, who is Sula?" And then he said, Sula is linked to the placebo. So she's something to do with the placebo, which I don't know what that is. But I started thinking maybe like Sula is going to help me change my mindset or something in a positive way. Get over some limiting belief. Like placebo is all about believing something so much that it becomes real. But so that's that. And then all of a sudden I look out the window, and again, he's driving me around a previous dream. And I was thinking, I can't believe this again. I said to him, "I can't believe this. I've been here before in a previous dream." He looks at me, massive smile on his face, because again, this guy knew so much and he wasn't telling me. He felt to me like one of these self-aware characters, because every so often you'll have a lucid dream where you'll have somebody in the lucid dream, a bit like that Noel in the first dream. He was a real person. I'm convinced of that. And this taxi driver seemed like the same sort of energy. Somebody who I feel like is existing without me. So I've just said, I've been here before in a previous dream. He looks at me, massive cheesy grin, as if like, and he goes, I've been to many previous dreams. No, he didn't. He said, "I've been here in many previous dreams." And I was thinking, wow, again, it's like he's living his own life independently of me, but he's constantly going back and forth to previous dreams. I feel like his purpose is probably he's like a taxi driver taking people to previous dreams or something. And then what happened in this one, he was telling me something, he started glitching. So he's like talking, he started glitching. I thought, what? He kept talking, glitching. Suddenly I wake up, 5 seconds, well, a second after I woke up, there's a cat that keeps coming in my bedroom. The cat was sleeping on my bed. The cat jumped out my window, and when it jumps out the window, it lands on the roof, little roof down there. It makes like a thump. So I would have woken up. It's weird. This has happened a lot as well. I'll wake up from a lucid dream like a second before the alarm's going to go off. But the dream plays out and finishes just in time. Almost as if the dream knows that it's time to wake up. And that's what happened here. It's like the guy started glitching as if the sound of the cat like broke the dream, but the sound of the cat happened after I woke up. It's very strange, and I just thought that was a bit weird. Again, I couldn't get back into it. I tried to get back into that one, but the thing with that one was this shadow thing behind me, because I'm starting to analyse that and thinking it goes into a lot of my previous dreams about like shadow things behind me. But I did look around, I couldn't see nothing because the seat was in my way. I think if that was to happen again, I would actually turn right around the seat to try to find out that shadow thing. But I forgot to mention this regular dream. This is funny. So the cat again was in my bedroom, lying on my bed, and I've got this strange thing where if the cat is asleep, even if I'm super uncomfortable, I don't want to move because I don't want to wake the cat up. So I was in this really uncomfortable position, trying desperately not to wake this cat up. Somehow I managed to get to sleep, and as I was getting to sleep, I was going in and out of like a half lucid dream, half thingy, but I ended up going into just a regular dream with my sister in a house where I used to live as a child. So I'm walking around this house saying, I used to watch TV, Thundercats on that TV. I was talking about Thundercats. I love Thundercats. Kids cartoon from the 80s, 90s. But what's really funny is, in the dream, I wasn't lucid, but something I've started noticing, my dream character seems to almost becoming self-aware, or it seems to be becoming lucid. My dream characters seem to be becoming lucid, even though I'm not. So I'm in the dream. It's almost like I am an observer in my dreams, observing my dream character who is aware. So my dream characters are aware that they're dreaming, but I am the observer not aware that I am dreaming. So it's almost like it's almost like there's two awarenesses going on at the same time in the dreams, and that's happening so much just lately. So in this one, I'm observing my dream character, aware that he's dreaming, because he was a little boy. Because I used to be a boy. He was aware that he was dreaming, and he said to my sister, he goes, "Oh, this is really funny. There's a cat sleeping on my bed at the moment, and it's purring, and I can hear the purring in this dream." So the dream character knew that it was dreaming, knew that the cat was on the bed purring, and it could hear the purring. I then woke up, and the cat was purring. I loved that. I just found that really sort of like, I don't know, it's amazing that the sound, it's almost like the real world, the waking world, merges in with the dream world. I would love it if you could get it the other way, so you could get the dream world merging into this world, and I think you can. But I think that just is going to, again, I've talked about this a lot. I feel like the dream character is its own thing. I'm something else above the dream character. I think we have something above us, like our higher self. So I'm wondering if that higher self can become aware that it's dreaming. Would it then be possible for us, who's I think we're in our own sort of dream, virtual reality, same sort of thing. Would it be possible if the thing above us starts becoming aware that it's in a dream? Would it be possible that we become aware we're in a dream? So like the dream character can be dreaming, and it can be aware independently of me. Maybe I can start doing that. That's a bit weird, but I know what I'm trying to say. I can't really explain it. But the end result would be that you would be able to start doing things in the physical world that would be dreamlike. So sort of like magical things. I think you can do it. Because they even talk about like monks who have like, I think they're like ascended monks and stuff. Like monks who have become enlightened apparently can do things like levitation and all sort of things that are dreamlike. I've never seen anyone do that. But I just say never now. I think anything's possible, especially when you start seeing what's going on with the dreams and stuff. But there's the one more, which happened on the 10th of July, a couple of days ago. This one is mental. So this one, I might have to get into my dream diary with this one, because this one, I became lucid. Yeah, it was funny. Again, my dream character was aware that it was dreaming, but I wasn't. So I stayed in a normal dream. My dream character started knowing that it was dreaming. So what it started doing was it started bouncing, and it could put itself into zero gravity. So I felt what it was like to be in zero gravity. At which point I became lucid, because I was floating. I put all my awareness into my head and pushed up. I started zooming up to the sky, but it's as if you're going 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, 20, 40. It was doubling itself constantly. It got to this point where it was going so fast, I could feel the G-forces. Felt like my body was going to stretch to bits, and I thought, I can't handle this, so I stopped it. But it was such an amazing feeling. I did it again, and I just... That was one of the... There was this one time... this one time at band camp... No. There was this one time in a dream where... I've talked about this. A lucid dream, I went into a black hole, and I got sucked into this... I could feel my body almost ripping. It was like that, but just even more intense. And the thing was, it felt like it was never ending. So it never... Because I started thinking, if I hadn't have stopped it, what would have happened? Because would I have stretched to nothingness? It was so intense I couldn't handle it. And I also started wondering, I would love to ask, like somebody like Robert Waggoner, what would happen if you somehow didn't stop the experience? Because I feel like you do have control about stopping it or not. So if you didn't stop it and it just kept getting faster and faster, the G-force gets to the point, like, what would actually happen? Because your body, as far as it feels like you are actually feeling it in your body. So even though you know you're dreaming, it's all physical sensations. So like, your body can't handle a certain amount of G-forces, but in this dream you can put yourself into that. So like, how is that going to work? If you can't handle it but you can be inside of it, surely that's like just gonna... I don't know. But that was amazing. And then I can't remember what happened then. From that I just ended up in this house. So I'm in this little house, and there's 3 other people, 3 little children, 2 girls and a boy, and there's like what I thought was a mum and a dad. And basically in this dream was just this dream, another one, it seemed to last forever. I suddenly, at some point, because of all the things that happened in this dream, I suddenly realised that these parents, because I was trying to get out of the house, I think I wanted to leave the dream, but they wouldn't let me leave the house. And I just started to realise these 2 like adults have trapped me here. And I realised what was happening. I woke myself up from that dream, and I popped back into the house. So it was what ended up happening, and this is a crazy one. I lost count, but there's at least 8, and I know there's more because I just lost count. I kept waking myself up, and I could not wake myself up from this dream. What ended up happening was I just kept having false awakenings. Like, so many false awakenings, I felt trapped. But the thing was, this was different because this was false awakenings. I wasn't waking up into the void like normal. I was waking up back in that house, and it felt like these 2 beings were somehow, the energy of them was keeping me inside the dream. And I turned to these 3 other people, and I knew that they were lucid dreamers. And what happened was, these 2 people had like brought lucid dreamers to this house and were trapping them. And I said to these 3 other lucid dreamers, I said, you don't have to be here anymore, you can leave. And I just said, this is funny. What happened was, it was raining outside. So I said to this lady, do you want to see a magic trick? So it kind of links in with earlier in the dream. I made a little plan of how to escape this house. So what I did was, this is funny, because the dream, they'd be making me clean up the house, which is one of the things that made me realise they were sort of trapping me in this house. So I went outside with this dustpan and brush, and I said to her, do you want to see a magic trick? So she said yes. So what I did was, I stood on this little something, I can't remember what it was, and I suddenly, remembering the previous dream, I put all my energy in the top of my head, and I just zoomed straight up, the G-forces again. I shut my eyes, I'm going up through like the space, and then this is the funny bit. So I've escaped the house. I realised I still had the dustpan and brush with me. This is funny. What I did was, I stopped, I zoomed all the way back to the house, and I like dropped off the dustpan and brush and said, I forgot these, and then zoomed off again. So I thought that was funny, because it's kind of like you've managed to escape this house, but you've gone back just to put the dustpan and brush there. I thought that was funny. Maybe you had to be there, but it was funny to me. So then what happened was, I thought, yes, I've made it. Wake myself up, I'm back in the house, and now I'm just thinking, what is going on here? As I got back into the house, this voice again. There's always like a voice that tells you things. This voice said, you're going back to this house, you've only been gone 16 seconds, but to them it's like 68 years or something. And in this house, everybody had grown older, apart from these 3 little lucid dreamers. They were still the same age. So now I'm really feeling like I'm trapped in this house. So I'm trying to escape, and I just said to her, well, I'm wondering whether that lady is Sula. I don't know, because I'd been saying, take me to Sula, and I ended up in this house. So I don't know, but I said to her, what have you done to me? What have you done here? You're trapping us in this house. And then it really got quite evil. I forced myself awake again, back into this house. The way I was finding out if I'm lucid or not is checking the light switches. It gets a bit weird now, because light switches never work in dreams. But in this dream, am I dreaming? I hit the light switch, the lights were sort of working. So I'm now thinking, oh, I'm not dreaming. But what happened was the light bulb was multicoloured. So I said, I am dreaming. I woke myself up again, I'm back in the house. I go to touch the light switch, the adult, the bloke, he rugby tackles me to stop me touching the light switch, as if he's trying to stop me realising I'm dreaming. And I said, what are you doing here? You're trapping me in this dream. And then the last one, I just focused so much on waking myself up. As I woke up, I popped back into my bed. But as I popped back in, my body was just fuzzy, and it felt like as if I had teleported the energy from the dream into my physical body. And I know it sounds mad, but I felt exhausted. I felt exhausted after that. It's like I woke up. Well, this is the thing. I woke up and I'm like, have I actually woken up, or am I still dreaming? There's this sense of, I don't know what the word is. It's when you have like so many false awakenings and you can't wake up, you end up feeling like it's not scared. You just feel exhausted. Then that's probably the best word. But my body was fuzzy for about 30 seconds, and I was in this strange place where I was half asleep, half awake. That is the weirdest feeling I've had. And I just felt like it's going to sound weird, I felt like I could have got trapped in that dream. And then ever since that, I've started thinking, if you're in a lucid dream and you or something could change the time, if, let's say for instance, the dream could change the perception of time so that in the lucid dream, like say 1 second out here is like 1,000 years inside the dream, would it be possible for you to be in that dream for 5,000 years, and it would feel like you were there for 5,000 years? You would wake up and you would only have been gone for 5 seconds. So would it therefore be possible for somebody to trap you in a lucid dream, take away time or slow time right down, so that you could almost be trapped in that dream infinitely, like forever, and back in the physical world nobody would know because time wouldn't have passed? I start thinking about stuff like that. I want to ask Robert Waggoner, like, is it possible to? Because I would love to go into a lucid dream with the goal of experiencing timelessness. But then, if you experience timelessness, could you possibly get stuck in a space where there's no time? It's quite weird. That again, that kind of goes into the quote, which is to do with fear, because there's a fear of you could get trapped in there, so you'd probably not be able to experience it because it's weird, but it just makes you wonder stuff, because then you start thinking, well, is it at all possible that what we are inside of now is kind of that's what's happening, whereby we're inside of something where time is different. So we could be existing in this physical for like hundreds of years, and then when we properly wake up and go back to the thing that's dreaming us, or into our base reality, that thing may have only existed for like a second, but it's had all of this life's experiences. That would be amazing. This is why I love lucid dreaming. It really gets you thinking about like just so many things. What happened last night in my dreams? I didn't have any lucids last night, but it says here, yeah, in my dreams I've been a lot more confident lately. Like my dream characters are a lot more confident, which again I think it mimics like the waking. If you get confidence in the lucid dream, you seem to become more confident in the physical. What happened in my dreams last night? Walking down flights of stairs, playing with a cat. Yeah, it's all... My nan seems to be a reoccurring dream symbol. My nan's died. That's basically that. I love talking about lucid dreams, and I feel like you just learn every single dream, not just lucid dream. Every single dream, I always seem to learn something, and that's why I think it's so powerful. Because you would think if you're spending all this time in the lucid dreams, and you would think that you would start to lose touch of reality, but it actually goes completely the other way. Like the more you realise how weird the lucid dream is and stuff, the more you start to realise how weird physical reality is, but the more you seem to become more aware and present in the waking reality. So it's almost like the more you lose yourself in the lucid dream, the more you find yourself in the waking reality. I think it's beautiful. Little Dennis hasn't done anything today, so Little Dennis is gonna hit the thing. That means it's the end of this little podcast. What I'm gonna do, the next one, I think I'm gonna talk about death, because I find death fascinating. Again, it's another thing like dreaming. If you put a lot of focus into the lucid dreams, you seem to improve your waking life. I think if you put focus into death, you actually seem to improve your life, because you seem to appreciate life more when you think about death. And I don't think enough people talk about death or even think about death. And I do think it can really help you become a better artist, like going after goals and facing fears and stuff. I think that'll be the next episode. And on my YouTube, I've got loads of videos to edit. This is one of the distractions I want to talk about, is am I distracting myself from drawing by making videos? So even though I think I'm doing something towards like improving my art and stuff by doing the videos, I'm wondering whether I'm distracting myself, because I've got about 30 pencil drawing videos I've got to edit. I've got 5 inspirational artwork videos to edit, and I've got about 10 quick look where I look at art books to edit. But I love making these videos, that's the thing. So, and my automatic writing, where you write without thinking, it's told me to just do whatever feels right and trust the process. So at the moment I'm going to keep making videos, but it does mean I'm not drawing as much as I want to. At the moment I've just been sketching in bed, and I'm quite enjoying that. Sketching little characters. I made some today which are quite funny. They're like little sausage people. So I've made a little man sausage and a little woman sausage, and I think I might try and turn those into proper little like sausage people. The sausage man's got a little suit on. He's quite funny. But that's going to be future episodes. And this week's inspirational quote, it goes to Robert Waggoner. Robert Waggoner. I love this quote because something I've noticed. I said before, I feel like lucid dreaming is some sort of fear simulator, where the whole thing is it's pushing you to test yourself against putting you into these situations of fear, because then you can become fearless. And again, when you wake up, you can become fearless. So you can almost improve your fearlessness in the waking state by practicing in the dream state. But this quote is, going deeply into lucid dreaming requires a certain degree of fearlessness and trust, which I think is amazing. And trust, I've actually got some sort of, what's it called? Some sort of like life limiting belief or something with trust. Trust is a big one for me. So is fearlessness. I think this is why I love dreaming so much, because it's helping me face fears and become trust. I talked once about a lucid dream where my goal was to face my fears, and it made me sit in the middle of a path with a bus coming towards me, and I had to sit there. The bus, just as it got towards me, I noticed that the bus was on like 2 wheels, and the wheel that would have hit me, it just missed my head. So it was like, and I look back at that, I didn't realise at the time when I spoke about it, but the word I should have used to describe it was trust. Because the dream was saying, trust the process. Trust that this bus is not going to hit you. So I sat there, even though I was thinking I had fear of it's going to hit me. I trusted it, and it like went past me. So I love that, and I love this little quote. Robert Waggoner, it's going deeply into lucid dreaming requires a certain degree of fearlessness and trust. Robert Waggoner.